Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. I'm Caroline. I work on the Adobe Care team here at Adobe. I work specifically in the video community. I answer questions, I solve problems, I file feature requests, I advocate for users. So if you ever see something that you don't want in the app, or if you think of something that you would like to see in the app, you can reach out to us on Twitter just about any time of day, and somebody will respond to you. And that goes for all Adobe products. It's not just video. So I know we have a lot of inter-app usage and things like that. So come and talk to us. You can also comment on any one of our videos, and you won't get an immediate response, but somebody will answer you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do me a huge favor and let me know that you can see me and hear me by dropping a cheese emoji in the chat pod. That would be great. So welcome to the Adobe Care channel. We publish weekly videos on top issues and new features and best practices for workflow optimizations and hardware optimizations, how to get the best performance out of our applications on your machine specifically. Yeah. We're just trying to help you have a smoother experience. I know the apps can be complicated. I remember the first time that I opened Premiere Pro, and I was a little nervous. But you know, there's plenty of tutorials. There's lots of people. All right, I'm seeing some cheese in the chat pod. Thank you. There's lots of people who are available to help you. We have some of those experts with us in the chat pod today. And I have one of them as my guest here today. And so if you have a question or a comment during the stream, please do let us know and we will give you the hookup. All right. I see plenty of cheese. Let's get started. So today on the stream, we're going to be talking about some of the changes in the application recently. I have a guest with me. I have the Premiere Pro product manager, Francis Crossman, who is an absolute delight. Wait for it. Hi, Francis.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi. Hope you're doing well. You hanging in there?
Oh yeah, I'm fantastic.
Good, good.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm pretty good. I've been listening to a lot of pop music. Right. It's very rainy today, so I'm enjoying this like cloudy lighting and just keeping energy up, you know, staying alive. I wanted to do an intro before we get started, like into the specific things, because there was a lot about software development that I had no clue about until I started here. So I was wondering what is a product manager?
Sure, that's a great question. So, I mean, basically, I like to think of a product manager as working for the customer. So I listen to users, I listen to customers, and I try to figure out ways to make their life better, more convenient, easier, more efficient, just bring them more joy. So I then lead product teams, like development teams, engineers, to develop these features, workflows, tool sets, sometimes bug fixes, that's going to make you as a user love our product and also be able to get your work done.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We're kind of working on similar streets. We're playing in the same ballpark, you know, as far as like connecting to the user, asking them what they need and trying to connect those dots. Have you always been into video?
Well, I mean, always. I didn't exactly get born with a video camera in my hand, but close to it. I guess, yeah, how did I get into video? So if we sort of work backwards, before I joined Adobe, I've been at Adobe for about 3 years now.
Okay.
Before that, I was a professional video editor for about 10 years in San Francisco.
Got it.
And before that, I studied film in college. I focused on cinematography and lighting mostly because I wanted to be on set and I didn't want to sit in front of a computer all day, but which is ironic. But during that process, obviously, this was sort of like during the advent of digital filmmaking, back in the early 2000s. And I had to put together my projects to show for my assignments and whatnot. And I really fell in love with editing during that time. And so back then it was like Final Cut 7, and certainly I was messing around with After Effects. And then, professionally switched over to Premiere a little bit later once I got, started professionally working as an editor.
Okay, super cool. Yeah, I fell in love with editing for like similar reasons. I love that you could you could have something that took you however long to make and you've had however many drafts of it, and then you cut it all together and then it looks like you got it right on the first try. I'm like kind of obsessed with being right, and so having that power and that illusion is really excellent. It's excellent for me.
Hey, Caroline, have you heard of the 80-20 rule?
No, what's that?
Which is
are you about to school me on live stream?
Only a little bit. Okay, so the 80-20 rule goes like this. You get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. And then the remaining 20% of the polish takes the remaining 80% of your time. Right. So you can get a rough cut done really quick, and then it takes you a long time to really finesse it.
To get that polish. Yeah. It's always the littlest details that really take it over that finish line. What was your role in the new captions makeover? And specifically, like, what was wrong with the old captions and what does this new design fix?
So I was the product manager on the Premiere Pro team who was helping to define what we needed to actually fix, and then also working with the engineering team during the period of time that we were building it to make sure that we were doing the right thing. And so there were actually 3 teams involved in this. This is a little bit into the sausage making, but there's, a Premiere Pro team who were working on, integrating stuff into Premiere Pro, but we also have the Sensei team who work on machine learning and artificial intelligence. We'll touch on their part a little bit later. It's maybe a little bit of a sneak peek for folks. And then we also have a graphics team who works on graphics-related features within Premiere and also After Effects. So this was really a collaborative process with a lot of really smart, talented people. That's
awesome. Yeah, because I mean, not everything was broken, right? Like not everything needed a makeover, but I did find myself, I find this workflow a lot simpler to use. I think it makes accessibility a little more accessible. Like I used to have to keep cheat sheets with me on the old design, and this new design, I just read the setup once and was like, okay, I got the hang of this.
So I didn't really answer the second part of your question, which was what was wrong with the old workflow. And, the honest truth is that there was a ton wrong with the old workflow.
Okay.
It's really difficult to use. And, quite frankly, it was designed for a very specific broadcast editor use case.
Yeah.
And it just really didn't work for modern content creators. So if you needed to create really good looking captions for like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, this was just a frustrating tool to use. Yeah. So, we really had those users at, the very forefront of our brain, and decided to just completely redesign it from the ground up. So we actually completely threw out the old workflow and started fresh. The only things that remain are, like we still have the same format support. So like the type of caption files that you can get in and you can get out, those are the same, but everything else in between, the whole workflow, the whole UI, everything is totally new.
All right. Yeah, I love it. And I do think it's way more accessible for people who don't do this full time. And it even makes things easier for people who do it full time. And, filmmaking, video making in general is just, it's easier than ever to do it. I mean, like, I don't really use my pro camera anymore, because I just carry my iPhone 12 around and it's got that wide angle lens and all that. And I get exactly. And yeah, I mean, just with TikTok and YouTube and everything, it's like you don't need to. And not only like is the hardware accessible to you, but the education is accessible to you. Like, we're doing these things and we're super accessible on Twitter and on YouTube, and then not to mention the millions of community members who make these really awesome tutorials that, you know, we work with, like Peter McKinnon and Premier Gal and Valentina V. They make these things to where you don't even need to go to film school anymore. I went to film school and you went to film school, but you don't even need to go anymore. You can just learn online, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really a revolution in knowledge sharing right now. I love it.
It's amazing. And I'm loving it because it's kind of like a renaissance for me. Like, I graduated and now I study film mostly when I'm watching movies, but now I get all these other resources, and going through Adobe is a great way to do that. Should we jump into the feature?
Yeah, sure. Or we could just chat.
Yeah, I'm loving a little fireside chat.
Yeah. So let me get my screen sharing.
Okay.
But while I do that, I'll just say that, you know, Caroline and I used to actually work at the same office before the whole pandemic thing happened, and I miss getting coffee with you.
I used to love it when I would be sitting there and that you would just appear out of nowhere. I was always moving around the office. And so I would work a little bit on the 4th floor, a little bit on the 2nd floor. And then sometimes you would just appear out of nowhere. It was magic.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I miss you and all the friends. I want to get back into the office.
Yeah, soon.
But here we are. Okay, so captions. Let's just start with sort of setting, like, why do you need captions at all? So, you know, we know that a tremendous amount of people are watching their videos with this, you know, watching videos with the sound turned off these days, whether you are, you know, it's like late at night or something like that, and you don't want to disturb your partner, or, you know, less and less people are on public transit, you know, because they're sort of like working from home, but still people don't watch with the sound turned on a lot. So if you can put visual captions on your video, you're going to get much better engagement. And, you know, if you are trying to be a professional content creator on YouTube, that actually equals more ad revenue for you. And, you know, so there's actually a monetary incentive for you to caption your video. So that's just the big preamble. And of course, Caroline kind of touched on it. The accessibility aspect of it is very important to remember as well. Not everyone, has hearing. Okay, so let's get into how to do this. So I have a short project here. You know, it's only about 16 seconds long, but it's just for a demo. I've got some voiceover on A1 here, and I've got some music on A2. And, you know, I'll just play back a little bit of it so you can get a sense.
All right.
Right now is a great time to create, because what we have a lot of right now is time.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the process of adding captions to this. So first off, I'm going to actually mute my music, because, you know, the captions really is a running transcription of what's spoken. So this way I can focus on the voice. I'm going to jump into the new captions workspace, which hopefully you guys know how to change workspaces, but here it is right up in the header bar here. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to open up two things. It's going to open up the text panel over here, sort of in the same area as the source monitor, and it's going to open up the essential graphics panel over here. I'll get into why we need that in a second. But first of all, let me just talk about the text panel, because that's kind of where the magic happens. And right now, let me just zoom into this, see if we can embiggen that. Okay, that's probably pretty good. So there's a few things that you are seeing on my screen that you might not be seeing on your screen.
Oh, and you got that secret sauce?
I've got the secret sauce, and the secret sauce, which is really not so secret, is that we're going to be bringing to market an automatic speech-to-text transcription feature. It's not available yet. So unless you have the secret handshake and you're part of the secret society, then you will not see this button, and you will not see the transcript tab over here.
Got it. Okay.
I'll do a demo of that a little bit later, but what I'm going to get into right now is for everybody else, which is most people right now, so long as you're updated to version 15 of Premiere, which is the most recent one, went out in March. I'll show you how this works. So what we want to do is make a new caption track, and this is going to open up a dialog, which quite honestly, you could totally ignore and just hit OK. But let me show you what's in here. So this is asking you basically what type of captions do you want. Everything in here except for subtitle is intended for broadcasters. So for most people out there, subtitle is what I would recommend, and that's the default. So that's why I say you can just hit OK, and that's fine. If you have text styles that you've created and saved in your project, you can specify those at the beginning, but you don't have to. So
what's a text style?
I'll get into that. That's basically the styling, like the font, the color.
Oh, okay. Background.
The treatment of like the visual style. So I'm going to hit OK. And what this did, and this is super revolutionary, we've got, in addition to audio and video, we have a caption track now. And this is where your captions and subtitles live. So let me show you how to add one and actually do some manual transcribing. So I'm going to look where the very beginning of my first piece of dialogue starts, which it's going to be really easy to line it up using the waveforms. Which luckily, as you can see, I've got this chopped up very clearly. You might just have one running piece of audio, but you can always zoom in. I'm using the Option key on the keyboard and just the scroll wheel to make this bigger so I can see. Yeah. And then, of course, you can always make it bigger, horizontally as well, so that you can really see what you're doing, right? Scroll bar down there. Okay, so now that I've got my playhead kind of placed at the beginning of this dialogue, I'm going to hit this plus button up here in the caption panel, and that's going to drop a new blank caption on my timeline. And then literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to type what I hear. So let me just play this back.
Right now is a great time to create.
Okay, so I'm literally just going to type by double clicking on the text right in the program monitor. Right now is a great time to create. Great. For the record, I hate typing with people watching me. So
are you a typo guy?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we have our first caption. You can see it's showing up in the text panel here as well. Let's just kind of zoom out.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you adjust these captions clips in your timeline just like you would any other clip?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, you know what? I think I actually did it just like totally by second nature without even explaining what I was doing. The original length was something like that. And to make it end at the end of the speech,
time to create,
is right about there. You just drag it in.
Do all the same like keyboard shortcuts like Q and W work on that?
Yeah, they do, but you have to be careful with Q and W because you're going to be cutting other stuff as well.
Yeah, any of your active tracks.
Exactly. So the keyboard shortcut actually that I use quite a lot is the E key, which is snap to playhead. So I've got this endpoint selected, and if I just hit E, it's going to snap it to wherever my playhead is.
Oh my God, I didn't know that one.
Oh, it's my favorite. Well, I've got so many favorite keyboard shortcuts, but that's one of them. Okay, so moving on. So I got the first one done. Now we've got options for how to create the second one. Obviously, I could just, repeat the exact same action of, hitting the plus button. But since we're talking about keyboard shortcuts, there is actually a keyboard shortcut, which for those of you who, maybe you want to know what the keyboard shortcuts are, go to the Premiere Pro menu, open up keyboard shortcuts, and then you can search for, what you're looking for. So I'm going to search for caption.
And that's the Mac workflow, by the way, is the Premiere Pro keyboard shortcuts. I think on Windows it's under Edit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm on a Mac. And so you can see that we've got some default keyboard shortcuts. Now these, Option Command C might be a bit of a Vulcan death grip. You can totally change this to something else. The reason why we set it to something a bit complicated as the default is a pretty simple reason. We've got so many keyboard shortcuts in Premiere that we're literally running out of them. So we tried to make something that was logical, but you can make your own decisions about, like, if you do a lot of captioning and you don't need some other things, you can totally reset this to something else that's already in use, and use this keyboard shortcut for captions instead. Okay, so Option Command C. That was a long-winded way of saying that there's a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to do Option Command C, which drops a caption item on my timeline, and then let's listen to this bit.
Because what we have a lot of right now is time.
I think I'm going to do those together. So I'm going to extend this. And this time I'm going to edit in the text panel just to show you that that's possible. I already forgot what the text was, what the dialogue
because
is.
What we have right now is time.
Because what we have a lot of right now is time. Okay, cool. Because what we have a lot of right now is time. Cool. So we're rocking and rolling. Let me show you some other ways also that I like to do, which is for this next one, I might just do copy and paste the previous title in order just to get a segment on screen. Obviously, it's going to paste the content, the text as well, but you can replace that.
Time that can be used to rediscover.
Okay, let's trim the end and time that can be used to rediscover.
To reimagine.
So I'm totally doing this live, and you can see that it actually doesn't take me that much time.
No, it's not too bad at all.
Now, for a longer piece, obviously, this can get tedious.
And most importantly, create something new.
Okay, let's use the keyboard shortcut for this one.
And there are other buttons in this text panel too. I use the split button a lot, and I will typically write a paragraph of stuff, and then I will split it where it needs to be split, and then just delete. I don't know. That sounds messy now that I say it out loud, but that is what I've been doing.
Well, let me show you actually a perfect example of using the split button. Okay, so like this right here, right?
Because what we have a lot of right now is time.
Maybe I want to make this just a little bit more dramatic because there is a bit of a pause, right? So, I want to put like a break here. So what I can do is highlight this, and up here in the text panel, by the way, there's a few different ways of doing a lot of things. And the reason that we make like multiple different ways of doing the same thing is that different people's brains work differently, you know what I mean? And different ways make sense to different people. But okay, so I've got split segment and merge segment. So split segment, basically what this is going to do is it's going to split it Let me just zoom out here so you can see what happens. And it's going to put the split where the playhead is. Right now, what it's doing is it's actually just duplicating the text into both segments. But then, what you can do for the first one is like, let's remove that is time because that's what we want to come after. And I'll do a ... And then this next one, I'm going to delete the first part. And again, I'm going to put a ...
For extra drama.
Totally. Okay, so let's get the end of this and the beginning of this. Again, I'm just using the E key on the keyboard. Okay, and then let's watch this.
Because what we have a lot of right now is time.
Yeah, I like that. It punches.
Cool, so it's
got
more
that
dramatic,
punch.
right? Now, the opposite case, let's say you decided that, oh, okay, no, actually, I want these to be joined. You can hit the merge and it'll merge them together. Of course, now we've got ... but you get the idea. I'm gonna undo this.
Okay.
Because I like it this way. Let's talk about some other things in the text panel that are super, super helpful. So of course we've got a search. So if you have a longer transcript, longer piece with, I've only got 6 captions here, but if you've got 100 captions, isn't it nice to be able to search for things and find them? So like, let's say I'm looking for time. It's going to highlight every instance of the word time. This is also really useful for doing, replacing things. So like, let's say that I misspelled the word time and time again, and I can replace it to the proper spelling of the word time and replace it throughout my entire transcript. Now,
Wow.
Obviously, now it doesn't make any sense at all.
Right now is a great time to create.
Because this doesn't make any sense. So let's switch it back. So I'll search for time, and I'll change it back to time. You gotta love the English language.
Yeah, they said, let's make a few words just sound and exactly like the other words.
Yeah, totally. Okay, sweet. So we're actually in pretty good shape here. But I think I can make these look a little bit better.
Okay.
And that's where the Essential Graphics panel comes in. So basically what you want to do is highlight at least one of your captions, and you might want to find, something that's on a background that is generally representative of most of your content. By what I mean is, this piece is somewhat dark. So I probably wouldn't want to design my captions on like a really bright frame or something. I want them to look good throughout my entire piece. So I don't know, let's just choose this frame right here.
Okay.
And over in the Essential Graphics panel, we've got basically all of the tools that you're used to from the graphics workflow. So font and size and alignment, all this stuff. I don't need to go through all these tools one by one, but let me just show you that, I'm going to choose a different font. Let me find, I think there was one called, no, not that. Oh yeah, it's this one, the Arial Rounded. I actually kind of really like this font. And let's make it a little bit bigger. Maybe not quite that much bigger, a little bit bigger. Yeah, sure, that's cool. And then, we've got the general alignment tools. So like, left alignment, center alignment, right alignment. I'm going to leave it center because that makes the most sense most of the time for captions. You could force justify. We could align it to the top. Now, what does that mean, the top? It means the top of this text box that's on screen, or the center, or the bottom. Now, for this case, because I have my captions at the bottom of the screen, which is the general convention, I would leave it aligned at the bottom. And that is the default, by the way. But you don't have to mess around with all these alignment options. You can actually just use this zone positioning preset right here. Actually, let me zoom in on this. I just realized that, this is small detail. Okay. mucho bigger. Awesome.
Looks great.
So we've got some options here, right? So the bottom center zone is the most common, but let's say there's something like a lower third graphic or some piece of content. Maybe you're doing a product review and the captions are literally covering up the product itself. You could move them to the top or over here or over there. You get the idea, right? So
Yeah.
it's just like a really easy way of moving the captions around on screen. Of course, you can fine tune them with like, specific pixel values, but really, honestly, you shouldn't need to mess with these XY coordinates pretty much almost ever. But they're there for
ideally.
you. Yeah.
Ideally. I've never seen it really that anywhere other than that bottom center or in that top, like along the top during credit, like opening credits or something like that.
Yeah, totally up here. Yeah, for sure. I would say that probably these are the two most common positions for captions, and it only goes up top when it doesn't make sense to be at the bottom.
Okay, got it.
In general, that's what I find. But you can be creative.
And then the controls underneath all that, is that just the typical text customization?
Yes, most definitely. So as far as like visual appearance, color and such, yeah, for sure. So let's change these to like a nice, like a yellow. Actually, let me move this so you can actually see it. Yeah, like a light yellow or something might be kind of nice. If we want to add an outer stroke to this, maybe let's do like a just a solid black stroke. Now this is going to be a little bit hard to see on this dark background. You know what? Just for the sake of illustration, let me do something like kind of wacky that you probably wouldn't normally do, but just so you can see what the stroke does. And of course, you can make it super mondo or nice and thin and tasteful.
But not every format is going to let you make those, right? Like the broadcast formats are going to have restrictions on like what colors they'll let you use, right?
Yes, very much so. I'm glad you brought that up. So all of these advanced styling options are available in the subtitle format, which if you missed that, let me just go back over here on my caption track here. I can actually right click on it and there are some options. Of course, I can rename it, but I can look at the track settings and I can see what format I'm using. If you choose one of these other formats, which again are specific to broadcasters, you're not going to have this level of control with all these different styling options, because these different formats actually are very restrictive. They have just very specific things that you can and can't do. So
what happens if I have my text set to bright pink and then I change the style, or I create a new caption format and copy that in?
Well, so we could actually. Well, what'll happen? So if you change the format, even after you've done some of this styling, it'll basically just remove the things that it doesn't support for that new style or for that new caption format. You won't lose.
So it'll automatically get you in line. It'll automatically put you where you need to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Okay, cool. So we are back doing some fancy styling. This actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like it too. Let's keep it. So of course we've got the option to add a background. This is, like what you would see on like the news, right? If you're watching TV at the gym or something. Remember gyms?
Wow. I didn't go to the gym before this, so.
It's been a while. So that, normally it would be like white text with a black background. Mm-hmm. Now we're getting kind of crazy here. I actually don't hate it. It's kind of nice.
It's retro.
It's retro. And then of course the drop shadow is again, you can choose the color, you can choose the softness, the spread, all that stuff. I'm not going to go like sort of, point by point here, but let's say that this is your style. Like you're going to rock this for all your pieces and you're going to use this again and again. Right now, all I've done is change one caption. So these other ones, they still have the old style. So this is actually by design. This is so that you can change individual captions if you need to. But most of the time, what people actually really want is to have everything be the same. So that's where this track style thingy drop down tool thing comes in here.
Nice, nailed it.
Yeah, I know what things are called. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit create style, and we're going to call this Caroline likes subtitles.
I sure do.
Yeah. And then now that I've actually saved this as a style, and you can see that it's assigned to my track style, all of my other captions have now inherited this. And
oh, you don't even have to select the other clips?
Nope. It does it automatically. Now, of course.
What if I decide I don't like that anymore? How do I get it off my drop-down menu?
So there's a couple of things you can do if you change your mind about this style. For one, if you just simply change your mind about like how it looks, like, oh, you know what, I actually don't really like that background, I'm going to get rid of that. These buttons over here are push and pull to sync changes to or from your style. So I'm going to actually hit the push button. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring up a little dialog that says, hey, you're going to be pushing these style attributes. What do you want to do? So to the style in the project means that it's going to update the actual style itself, and everywhere that you're using this style will get updated. It might be that you have multiple different sequences running, and all you want to do is change it just for the captions on this exact track. But what I'm going to do is actually just do the style in the project, and then you can see that all of my other captions now have gotten that update. But your question was actually, okay, so Caroline no longer likes subtitles.
I can't stand them.
Yeah, and she wants to get rid of this from her dropdown. Okay, so the way you do that is over here in the project panel. This is my text style.
Okay.
And for the record, I've got some other ones that I previously created, including Ye Olde subtitle style and Pirate Times, which I'll demo those. They're cool.
Could I please see that?
Yeah, for sure. But if you don't like this, maybe you don't like you made a misspelling in the title or something, or you just want to just like never see it again. Like, I hate this. Like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. You can of course just change the name in the project panel, and if I go back over here, you'll see that it updated to that new name. I didn't need to do any kind of like a syncing blah blah blah. It just does it, and then simply if you just hit the delete key, boom, it's gone.
Nice.
And it's no longer an option in my dropdown. Now you'll notice that my titles or my caption didn't actually change. They still have this style, but now they're no longer associated with that text style. So I'm actually going to undo, because in fact I kind of like it. I'm gonna run with this one. But yeah, let's see some of those other ones that I made.
I'm dying to see Ye Olde text style.
Okay, Ye Olde subtitle style. Yeah, here we go. That's kind of cool, right? Like Game of Thrones.
Can you zoom in a little bit? I can't see it.
You want to embiggen it?
Embiggen, please.
Yeah. That's a word, right? I think it's a word. Yeah, so this is my Ye Olde subtitle style. And of course, with this particular font, it might make sense to do a carriage return. Mm-hmm. It kind of looks not so cool to have just like one word on the next line. So, different font sizes are going to require, in some cases, different sort of like custom adjustment of the text itself. But yeah, let's see. Okay, that's Ye Olde text style. And
that's great.
Another
good
one.
stuff. We
pirate
also we have some of the Francis sent us some of these textiles to make available to the people who are watching this. So we're going to drop a link in the chat pod and you can download these textiles and play with them or make your own or whatever. Sorry to interrupt.
No, most definitely. Yeah, so the ones that are included in that download are the ye olde, which, I don't know if anyone's ever going to use that, but, you're welcome to.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, right. The one that I think people will actually use, though, is this round yellow with drop shadow, because this is kind of tasteful, This is what I run with on all my projects that I have to caption. Okay, so actually, I guess that brings up the question, if you guys are actually going to go and download that style, how do you get it in? Well, it's really easy. So, simply just, the normal import. So like, file import, and then navigate to, oh, look, it's right here. This is just on my desktop, but obviously navigate to wherever you downloaded it. It'll be this PR textile, and you can import it, and then they'll show up in a folder that says Francis's Fun Subtitle Styles, and I actually only put 2 in there, but you'll see the round yellow and the ye olde. And then, those will show up in your Essential Graphics track style over here.
Got it. So now that they're in the project panel, they're accessible from the Essential Graphics panel.
Yes, cool. Exactly. And if you land on something that you like and you want to share it with someone, you can right click on it, say export text style, one or many, and then this is what you'll get. Okay. So yeah, so actually let me go ahead and save that. I'll send this to you, Caroline. Maybe you want to use it. I don't know.
I would love to. Thank you. Yeah. I do have more questions about exporting subtitles, because I know, like, what's the difference between an SRT and a sidecar, and when do you use them?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so this is a perfect time to talk about that, actually, because I think I'm done. The next thing I want to do is export this thing, right?
Great.
So I'm just going to choose, the regular export media, and then let's do like an H.264 because I want to go to YouTube. I've got some actual presets that I made called YouTube Clean and YouTube Dirty. In the broadcast world, clean and dirty are used to refer to with and without text burned into the picture. And I kind of did a little bit of time in that world. So this is how I think about it. But you can just start with like a basic preset. So like, let's say this YouTube 1080 preset, and then go down and find the captions tab here. And this is the default option, which is burn captions in the video. And so we can see a preview of what that's going to look like over here. And of course, you can see that there are my captions. So burning it in means that they'll be permanently included in the video image, and you can never turn them off again because they're there forever. With a sidecar file, this is, now you see that the captions went away in my preview. This is going to export basically a text file that you can then use in conjunction with that clean export. And let me show you how that works. I recommend using the subrip subtitle format, SRT for short.
Okay.
And you don't need to check anything else. Don't worry about this include SRT styling. That's kind of more for advanced use cases. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and export this. I'm going to uncheck import into project because I don't need to do that. But let me put this on like my desktop, which will be an easy place to find it. Okay, cool. And I'm going to go ahead and export this. And remember that I chose the sidecar method. So when I open up the video, it's not going to have captions burned in. But here is my video. Actually, this is not a great way of looking at it. Let's do it like this. So here is my video, And here is my sidecar text file. And so if I open this video, just sort of, like in QuickTime Player or whatever, you'll see that there are no captions. But if I open this SRT file, I'm actually just going to open this with, let's open it with TextEdit.
Okay.
Because it's really just a text file. And let me do that. Okay. So now you can see that this is actually not super scary. It's pretty human readable. This is, the time code from, time code start to time code end, and then what is the text.
Nice.
So if you were going to go upload this project exactly to YouTube, then you'd upload the video, and then once that's uploaded, you can go into, the YouTube, their system there and add this SRT. And then your viewers are going to be able to turn those captions on and off. There's another benefit to doing it this way, which is that, YouTube will offer Google Translate. So people who don't speak your language will, with varying degrees of success. Sometimes the Google Translate is a little funny, but it can be good enough to get the idea across.
It also doesn't it also affect your search engine results too? Like if you have an SRT, won't your video show up higher in results?
Yes, definitely. Okay. So Google actually does, or YouTube, I guess I should say. Well, it's the same company really, but YouTube will promote videos with captions more than with not. And also search results are going to potentially get hits based on the text in your captions. So it means that your video is then more search engine optimized, which is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, so it'll search like keywords within your SRT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So let me just do one more export and just hit Command M. And this time I'll show what it looks like to burn them in. I mean, I think that you guys can probably all imagine what that's going to look like, but just to show you that it works.
I was also curious, like you were talking about those longer assets and longer transcribe times, and I know that we're working on a way to do this automatically for you and save you that time. Do you have time to demo that for us? Okay.
Yes, most definitely. So let's just start over. All this hard work that I did, I'm literally just going to delete it. And let's do the automatic transcription process, which is super cool. So first off, you have to apply for access to this. So I actually have the link over here. Maybe someone can put this in the chat pod or something.
Yeah, it was dropped in the chat pod earlier. I think it's also in the description of this video as well.
Oh, rad. Okay, so it's there. So if you want access to the magic that I'm about to show, you got to go here and apply for access. And then, we'll see if we can let you in. But here's how it works. So I'm going to hit transcribe sequence. And this dialog is basically asking me about my audio. So what audio do I want to send up to the service to get transcribed? If you've used the essential sound workflow and you've tagged your dialogue as dialogue, you can, of course, just send that. In my case, I didn't do that. But remember that I was a pretty tidy editor, and I've got all my voiceover on A1 right here. So I can choose audio 1. And then, of course, it's very important to choose your language. Obviously, this is English, but we've got a pretty robust language support. And, we're actually very interested in getting feedback from non-English speakers about, how do you like the accuracy, all that kind of stuff of other languages. So definitely do give that a try if you speak languages other than English. I'm going to hit transcribe. And what this is going to do is it's going to render out my audio. It's going to send it up to a service. So this is processing in the cloud, where it's doing, machine learning based, artificial intelligence based speech to text analysis. And then the output of that goes through our Sensei machine learning process to do natural language processing. Natural language processing just means that it's going to make it read in such a way that a natural human would be likely to speak. But check this out. So I've automatically got all of my transcription here. Now, they're not captions yet because I haven't created captions out of them yet. But if I hit playback here, you're going to see it follow along word by word.
Right now is a great time to create.
Which is really cool.
Because what we have a lot of right now is time.
See, the robot separated it too. It was like, we need some drama here.
Yeah, totally. And of course, you can click on individual words and it will navigate to that point in time. If you want to create captions out of these, there's a big button looking at you here saying, please click me. So I'm going to click it. And this is going to be a familiar dialogue that we've seen before. I'm just going to accept the defaults, hit OK, and check it out. We've got captions on our timeline. And that was super fast.
Yeah, that was like a quarter of the time that we spent before. That's insane.
It's pretty insane. Yeah. I mean, we're really, really excited to bring this to market. Again, right now, it's just in early access. So, you're going to need to apply for access if you're interested. But once we bring this, it's just going to open up captioning to a whole new, cohort of content creators that maybe never had the time to do it before, but they can get a lot of value from this. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, no kidding. Man,
yeah.
Okay, let me see if there's any other questions I had. Yeah, I think we covered most of it. We covered that we need some people who speak more languages than English to help us test it. We covered that it is in early access, so access is not guaranteed, but we are continuing to open these gates. Oh, if I find a bug, or if I find something that's just, it's not behaving the way that I think that it should, how do I get that feedback to you?
Very good question. Okay, so not just about this feature, but about anything in Premiere Pro, there's a help menu up here.
Okay.
And you can go to provide feedback, and that is going to, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, infinite streams.
Yeah, right. Cool. So it's going to open up User Voice, which is our platform for receiving customer feedback. So this is a lot of feature requests. Some are bug reports. But what I would recommend doing before proposing a new idea is to actually search. So I'm going to search for captions and see what pops up. And you'll see that, yeah, some people have complained, right? Like, open captions have been extremely buggy in Premiere Pro, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is talking about the old workflow that we fixed. So you'll notice that some joker named Francis Crossman has gone in here and said, yeah, this problem has been resolved. And I left a short description, a little link of, here's where you can get information about the new workflow. And if we kind of keep on going down, you'll see that there were a lot of people who had a lot of problems with the old captioning workflow. And, I don't mean to brag or anything, but we fixed pretty much all of them, which is pretty cool. But
yeah, that's super cool. And it's also, I mean, this is a great community tip that, like, if you have a problem, you can put them in here. And if you tag them correctly, then whenever we are able to prioritize whatever feature it is or workflow, we can use this search feature to apply all of your commentary to the new feature. And Nikisha just made a great point in the chat pod. She said, we like positive feedback too. And that's true. If you share positive feedback, we will continue to invest more in that direction that is working for you. And you can send us positive feedback through User Voice as well, or always on Twitter at Adobe Care.
Yeah.
That's our plug.
Sweet.
I think we've covered just about everything.
Yeah.
I think that's the captions workflow.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, totally. This was fun. We should do it again, Caroline.
We should. I have tons of questions. I'm also super curious about color. I know you know a lot about color display and color correction. I would be really interested in doing something like that. If you're in the chat pod right now and you have an idea of something that you would want a topic covered, a deep dive like this, please let us know. We will set up more like this. Francis, could I see your face again?
Oh, you got it. Let me stop.
Let's see what you got. Nice.
Oh, don't need that. Yep. Cool. I know how computers work.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're so good at it. You're so good. You are Mr. Software. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your brain with us today. Yeah. This has been super fun. I found it really helpful. I hope that other people found it really helpful. I am also going to create highlights of this stream. So if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, we're all very busy. You can come back probably tomorrow and we'll have a highlight reel published of all of Francis's top tips. Francis is on this side of me. The camera's reversed. Yeah. There we go. So if there are any other topics, please let us know. And we'll be happy to hook you up. I do want to high five you. Yeah, can I get a high five? There we go. Thank you so much, Francis.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.